All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning if you're from Australia or New Zealand or this side of the world, and good evening from all the rest of the world, wherever you are. Look, Aurélien Tchouaméni news, it's been going around for a very, very long time. It was one of the hottest topics in the summer transfer window that just finished. We were looking for a midfielder. There was no secrets about that. And Tchouaméni was one of the front runners, along with Declan Rice and a few other names that was thrown around at that time as well. But we ended up getting Saul. It is what it is. However, these conversations have materialized once again. As you can see, this particular article from Absolute Chelsea, who's a fantastic social media account, mostly in Twitter, but it's got their own publication as well. And it says Real Madrid joined Chelsea in race to sign AS Monaco's Aurélien Tchouaméni. And there's been a lot of talks. I don't know what's happened here. There's been a lot of talks about this particular player. Even ESPN has come out and said, transfer talk, Real Madrid keen to sign Monaco's Aurélien Tchouaméni. Then you've got another publication here, which is a SB Nation, which is a Madrid, seems like publication. They're saying Aurélien Tchouaméni on Real Madrid's radar report. Now, for me, this player, I'm not sure how many of you guys in the people that are watching this right now have watched the Spain versus France league, Nations League final. I know it's a bit of a dud sort of competition, but at the end of the day, what that particular final outlined to me was that Tchouaméni could play as one of the deepest midfielder, more like a regista. And I'll explain all of that in this sort of formation situation. But before we do that, I just want to quickly go through some of the stats for Aurélien Tchouaméni, just to understand the situation in Monaco at the moment. He's 21, 1.87 meters, so not short. It is quite tallish for a player, which is brilliant. Defensive midfielder is his, trade. That's what he does. And he's got a contract till 2024. So at the end of this season, he'll have 2 seasons left. And I think this might be the last season for him at Monaco. And Monaco probably would look to ship him as well, make some money out of him. And he's catching a lot of clubs' eyes at the moment. Juventus has been thrown into the mix along with Real Madrid. And of course, Chelsea was always there. 35 million euros is the touted price that's been going around. So look, for me, he's a very, very good player. Very, young, 21, and the talent that he carries is immense. And I'll get to that very soon. This season is at 9 Liga games, 1 goal, Champions League qualification, where obviously they got knocked out, Monaco, 2 Europa League games, overall 1,200 minutes played. Last season, he chipped in with 2 goals and 4 assists. Look, at the end of the day, his position is not where you expect a lot of production from. Now, let's talk about this. The reason why I don't expect a lot of production, and the reason why I think what excites me about Tchouaméni more than anything now, I think a lot of the fan base previously, when they talked about Tchouaméni and people that have watched Monaco, and I'm not someone who's watched Monaco heaps, but I have watched Monaco a bit more since we got rumored with Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni for Monaco last season was mostly playing as a sort of like an 8, going up and down in these sort of areas or these sort of areas. He wasn't the deepest midfielder. But what I saw against Spain in the final, which gave me clear indication that this guy could play the deepest midfielder. So basically what happened was Pogba played more of a free role in midfield. Tchouaméni would tuck in just behind. And France, obviously, they didn't see much of the ball. Spain had most of the ball. So the way they really set up was something like so. Mbappe and Benzema, very free roles. They could roam around wherever. But Tchouaméni played sort of this area, the deepest midfielder area. And in build-ups, he'd link up with Kimpembe, Varane, Koundé, Pavard, Hernandez, Pogba, or even at times find that pass to Griezmann. he was basically surrounded with all of these players in and around him, and it allowed him to have the one-touch passing as well. He didn't sort of ponder and wait for his, an option to pop up. He knew exactly what needed to be done as soon as the ball was passed to him. So say, for example, Kimpembe passed it to Tchouaméni. He knew exactly what needed to be done before the ball even arrived to him. He'd either go to Hernandez, he'd either go to Pavard, he'd either go to Varane. And it gave me a belief that he could definitely play that Jorginho role. One of our issues at the moment at Chelsea is that we've got a lot of eights. We've got players that can bomb up and down on the right side, on the left side. We've got Kovacic. We've got even now Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's in stupendous form. Kante does similar things as well. But we don't have someone who can actually properly do Jorginho's role. And I completely believe Tchouaméni is someone who can do this, ladies and gentlemen. He's shown me enough. And I know I'm just basing this on that particular Spain game, but Spain is no mugs. Spain, they play brilliant possession-based football. They don't allow you to, see the ball much. And the way Tchouaméni allowed Pogba to be free, it's very important. You need this player, that deepest sort of midfielder, deep line playmaker, if you want to say. Not necessarily someone who gets involved in goals and assists, but still very important for the build-up. It's very important for Tchouaméni to allow a player like Pogba to really express himself. So Tchouaméni, if we're thinking it from a Chelsea point of view, him being the deepest midfielder, the other fantastic attribute is Tchouaméni is very athletic. And I think this is where Jorginho sometimes get caught, but Jorginho's vision is something that gives him the edge. But Tchouaméni's vision is very good as well. The way Tchouaméni was tracking back runners in these sort of areas, sometimes even these areas, and winning the ball from there, was brilliant to see against Spain. He's got that ability to block off the passes in these sort of regions in between the lines. So he's very good with interceptions. We saw that again in that particular final in the Nations League or League of Nations, whatever you want to call it. And then he's got that ability to progress the ball in these sort of regions. Sometimes he even ends up being in these areas as soon as France sort of progresses something like so. Let's say, this is what was at times happening in the second half. They didn't chase the game for too long. They were behind 1-0 France, and then they got back into 1-1 very quickly. And then obviously they ended up winning it 2-1. But he found himself in these sort of areas at times. Sometimes he'd even, Pogba would drop there and he'd find himself in these areas. So Tchouaméni is not scared to roam around, and his game changes with and without the ball. So going back to why I think he's, got me excited is purely for the fact that he can play this deep line playmaker role, that regista sort of role, which is what got me very excited. And I have not seen so far. Declan Rice, you can say he's a particular name that comes into the frame. I don't think, and we've seen Declan Rice play for England in that sort of deepest midfielder, and I don't really necessarily like him there. For West Ham now, Declan Rice is playing more as an 8, where he's getting to express himself a lot more. Jude Bellingham has played for Dortmund in that sort of deepest midfielder role, but now he's playing more of an 8 as well. And I don't mind Jude Bellingham there. I think he's a fantastic shot, but Tchouaméni has shown me some excellent passing quality. His long-range passing, short passing, one-touch passing, his tackling, interception is the total package in midfield, and he can play anywhere in this zone, which was very interesting to see. Now the question is, what do we do with Billy Gilmour and players like Conor Gallagher as well? Conor Gallagher is not someone I don't think can play the deepest midfielder. We saw him in pre-season once play for us, and he looked out of sorts. He's more of a box-to-box for Crystal Palace, and that's where he thrives the most. But it is a question we do need to ask. Do we go for someone like Tchouaméni? I think for me, Saul, we'll see how it goes, but I don't think he'll stick around for the at the end of the season unless he has a blinder of a loan season for the few matches that are coming, well, upcoming matches that are coming up. Decision will be sort of more clear by the end of December or end of January as to what's going on with Saul. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are. Would you go for someone like Tchouaméni as someone who could be a rotational player for Jorginho and then become the full-time player for Jorginho once Jorginho does leave. He's got aspirations to go back to Italy. Or what do you do with players like Billy Gilmore and Conor Gallagher next year? Let me know what your thoughts are. Would you go for Tchouaméni, or would you go for someone else like Lloris or Jude Bellingham? If you've enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.